Okay, here is the May 24th, Saturday, May 24th garden tour. And we're going to start in the back. And here we have our still somewhat empty loofah tunnel. I also planted some butternut squash right there. But over here you can see the loofahs are just barely starting to climb. In the back I have onions that are still growing. They've been weeded a lot, but it has been the rainiest year ever, and weeds just take over. And then here is a whole bunch of winter squashes of different types that have just blossomed and taken over. And honestly, I don't even remember what's what, but it's all there. It's all growing. I sprayed it yesterday with an organic June bug type killer. And so I'm hoping that that will help us to actually get a harvest this year, because in years past, they look this pretty for a couple of weeks and then we lose them all really quickly. Originally, I planted corn in there, but the corn took forever to come in, and then the butternut squash took over. So I don't think that the corn's actually going to grow. So yesterday I planted corn here, just popcorn, so there's not very much, but maybe it'll be enough to get a few ears of popcorn. And then on these two trellises we have tomato plants. These are all Amish paste tomatoes. They're growing good. They're about probably 3.5, 4 feet high at this point. And so far so good. Starting to get good flowers. And a couple of little baby tomatoes on there. But for this type of year, it's been chilly, so I wonder how that is going to affect it. So just still continuing to pray for good growth, no bugs, and no weird molds. All right, up here we have the unwieldy front garden. This is called So Many Days of Rain and No Time to Actually Weed Eat. But lemon balm has taken over. Over here we have some basil and some okra. These plants right here are the spoon tomatoes. So you can see they're just starting to flower. Back here amongst the weeds, we've got some green beans. The chamomile is usually really pretty this time of day, but since it's been raining all day, it's hard to see. Then I've got a few more tomato plants that were left over that are planted there. Some peppers that you can't see because of the weeds. And then the lettuce that is done and needs to be pulled out. Over here we have some garlic that's finishing up, and some kale and chard right there in the back. So garlic, kale, and chard in the back. Really liked the kale and chard this year. And up here, squash. So many little squash plants are coming out, and again, we sprayed it with Dr. Somebody's Dead Bug the other day, which is an organic spray. I'm really hoping that means that we'll actually get more than one round of squash this year before the squash bugs get it. But otherwise, we've got flowers coming up. Little zinnias are starting to do their thing. It took a while for me to get the trellis back up for the cucumbers, and so they sort of went a little bit crazy. I started to try to get them up on the trellis yesterday, so we'll see how they do. But this mess is all cucumber. Have a cute little holy basil right here, and then more cucumbers, more zinnias, and I forget what you are. But then we have purple coneflowers, zucchini, which is lots of plant and not much actual fruit yet. And then in our third little bed, it is just a conglomerate of things. So here is where I planted turmeric that never came up. I don't know what I did wrong, but I sort of left it alone hoping that something would come up, but nothing really did. So a bunch of holy basil volunteered. We're just going to let it go. The kids were experimenting with cloning tomatoes, and so this is a tomato that they was a sucker, and so they just stuck it in the dirt, and it looks like it re-rooted and is doing its thing. But here's the eggplant. A bunch of different varieties of small tomatoes, just growing and wieldy and so pretty. But so we have our first little bitty cherry tomatoes coming out. Let's see if you can see them there. There's some. These are black strawberries, and they're so pretty. And then on this side of this third bed are more holy basils and flowers that were just sort of sporadically planted. And then back here, I believe these are patty squashes. We'll see how they do. We really like squash, but the squash bugs often like them faster. So we are in the weedy stage. Hopefully we'll get some sunshine and I can get out here with the weed eater and do some maintenance so we can see things a little bit better. But here we are. Okay, so I just made a video saying that the turmeric was not going to come up, but look what I found. This is a little shoot from a turmeric plant. And over here, you can't really see it, but this is a root that was sticking out. Where'd you go? This right here is a root that was sticking out. And so I just sort of dug around it. And look, there is another shoot for a turmeric plant. I'm just going to cover it right back up, and hopefully it comes on out very soon. That's encouraging. I thought that for sure that we're going to see nothing from all that turmeric that we planted, but maybe it'll come up.